Hello, my dear friends. I'm back to talk to you about something that is called timing. How we plan our time since childhood, since we were born. I wouldn't say since we were born, but I would say since we went to school and stuff. Timing has, since elementary school, I would say, timing has always been something that we've had as part of our daily routines as scheduled, meaning that you had a certain amount of hours that you had to be in school, certain amount of minutes in a classroom, and then there is a breakout session and this and that. And then when we got back home, we had certain amount of time to do our homeworks in, and we learned that it's time now to go to a vacation. It's time now to relax today, and the next day is a work day, and it's something that's always been part of our life, right? Since birth. You have so much time to do something. You have only a few days to finish this project up. You have a few hours to do this. You have 15 minutes only to get there. So it's always been part of us. But sometimes we realize that, we forget that timing is important. So sometimes we delay certain things in life. For example, many of the people that I've ever dealt with have said, if I had bought 10 years ago this one property somewhere, in Glendale or Burbank or somewhere, the prices have gone up so much, I would have made so much money, so much profit. Well, if I had sold my property at such time and had that money invested in such and such business, I would have done so much better right now. Every issue that people have has to do some way, somehow, somewhere with timing. So it is such an important part of our lives, how we time things and how much importance we give to timing. And had I, from my experience, from my client base or prospect base, I would say that I've heard many, many times that, had I bought that disability insurance now, I would have been getting paid so much money every month. Had I had that health insurance policy, they wouldn't have put a lien on my house when I had that heart attack. People would talk about things like this, right? Or had my grandpa bought that life insurance policy, we would have received a big inheritance and whatever. I mean, those things are always talked about. But yet we think that it's always we're not talking in a sense that we want to do something about it and correct it, because the next day we're making the same mistake. So when people say, had I timed it properly back in the day and had I done this and that, and then you're telling them about something and yet they're still delaying that again. So 5 years from now, they will be talking about another timing issue of having missed the boat. And then time goes on. And, today I had a meeting with a client that came in, became a client. It was a prospect. And the guy said, I have no clue how, now I'm 54, I have no clue how I got 54 to become 54 years old. Time just flew. Well, you're not alone, my friend. Everybody's time flies. Before we know it, it's, Thanksgiving, and then it's Christmas, and then it's the year end. And so one more year has passed. Today I was realizing that exactly 30 years ago today, it was our first month that we had come to the United States. And, we had that earthquake in 1987 in September. It was our first day in the country and first 2 days in the country, and there was an earthquake in 1987. So I was like, man, this time really flew. But when you go back and try to analyze how many things you could have done, should have done, would have done, could have done, and how you missed the boat on certain occasions, and how time just passes without asking you, should I go, should I stay, do you have a couple of more things for me to do before I leave? Time doesn't ask. Time just moves on the same way. The clock keeps on ticking. You have to get caught up with things in life, and when you are behind, nobody's going to stop the boat and wait for you to get on and say, okay, I'm going to make a different decision. So it makes a lot of sense for us to start using our time wisely. And then, there's always those comparisons, right? Bill Gates has made so much money. Warren Buffett has made so much money. They were so lucky, and such and such. Well, guess what? These guys all have 24 hours in a day. They are the same. They have been given the exact same amount of time to do things in life. When I talk to people about timing for their retirement and start planning for their retirement, I tell them, listen, time is your greatest value. You got to start today, because the formula for wealth is wealth equals money times rate times time. So if your time starts decreasing because you keep on lagging and not doing what you're supposed to do, and time just flies, guess what? There's little that time number starts decreasing. So if you had 17 years before your retirement, now you have 15 years, now you have 14. Well, you could have had 25 years before your retirement, and you could have had more time to invest and grow your money and multiply those results, and thus making the wealth a lot bigger without necessarily having to put so much more money into it, right? So in order to